It's gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. And he's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all
That's the FBI announcing that man Eugene Henley Jr., aka Big U, is now in custody. We have just learned new details that Henley turned himself in.
Big U's worst fears may have just come to true. Reports suggest that the case against him has taken a serious turn, leaving very little room for a comeback. Sources close to the situation say that his last legal option to challenge the conspiracy and racketeering charges has reportedly fallen through. What makes things even more shocking is that the people said to be cooperating with authorities were once individuals he trusted. According to insiders, Big U has been extremely stressed after learning about recent developments in his case. Observers claim his attorney's actions have raised eyebrows, with some saying the legal strategy appears focused on filing motions that might not hold much weight. One recent filing in federal court reportedly demanded that prosecutors reveal the identities of those assisting in the government's case against him. Big U's lawyer argues that knowing who provided information is essential for a fair defense. However, legal experts note that such requests are rarely granted, especially when they involve confidential informants still active in other investigations. At this point, Big U continues to face serious legal challenges, including charges connected to alleged intimidation and extortion. Many following the case believe it's unlikely that the court will release the details his team is asking for, given the sensitivity of the situation. Whether this latest move helps or hurts his defense remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, the pressure surrounding this case is only getting heavier. According to recent reports, Big U's latest court motion directly challenges the confidentiality of the investigation against him. His legal team is reportedly asking the court to compel prosecutors to disclose the identities of both confirmed and undisclosed cooperating witnesses, as well as their reports and communications. The defense argues that this information is necessary for Big U to properly prepare his case and confront those who may testify against him. However, legal analysts say this request faces major obstacles. Courts almost never reveal the names of protected informants, especially if they are still involved in active investigations. Some observers believe this move might reflect growing frustration within Big U's defense strategy rather than a realistic expectation of success. Sources also claim that Big U filed this motion after learning that individuals close to him may have been cooperating with investigators. Reports suggest that once he became aware of possible phone monitoring, he and associates began using coded language and neutral meeting spots to communicate about general matters concerning the case. One of the reported gathering locations was a local auto repair shop, often used as a private meeting space. While these claims remain unverified, they've added another layer of intrigue to an already complex legal situation. The court's response to this motion could shape how the rest of Big U's defense unfolds, and everyone watching this case is waiting to see what happens next. Reports indicate that federal investigators began paying close attention to a local auto shop linked to Big U after noticing repeated meetings there. According to sources, surveillance cameras were placed near the location, and authorities worked with individuals in Big U's circle to better understand the nature of these gatherings. The shop soon became a key focus point in the broader investigation. Allegations suggest that this increased scrutiny began after law enforcement connected Big U to a high-profile case involving the late Rayshawn Williams. While those claims remain unproven in court, they reportedly led federal agents to intensify their monitoring efforts. Whenever Big U and his associates allegedly needed to discuss case-related matters, that same auto shop was said to be their meeting spot. Investigators were determined to learn what was being discussed, but reportedly struggled to gain direct access to those conversations. As a result, officials began coordinating with the Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs, a joint law enforcement initiative focused on organized crime and public safety within the region. This collaboration, part of the FBI's Safe Streets Gang Task Force initiative, was reportedly aimed at encouraging cooperation from individuals close to Big U. While many details of this operation remain sealed, insiders say this period marked a major turning point in how the federal government pursued its case against him. The Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs was originally formed to address the rise of organized street activity and related public safety concerns. According to official documents, investigators developed several confidential sources through this task force. These sources reportedly included individuals once close to Big U who were allegedly persuaded to cooperate after receiving favorable legal arrangements connected to their own cases. The reports claim that this strategy allowed federal agents to gather more background on the people surrounding Big U and their communication patterns. The reason this information surfaced publicly is because prosecutors allegedly submitted paperwork to a judge requesting the renewal of certain wiretap authorizations. In their filing, investigators stated that despite gaining some insights from informants, they still hadn't been able to access one key location believed to be central to Big U's meetings with associates.
The further document noted that while each confidential source contributed pieces of information about individuals tied to the Rolling 60s network, the overall intelligence remained incomplete. Officials argued that extending the surveillance efforts was necessary to achieve the broader goals of their ongoing investigation. Court documents reportedly detail how investigators expanded their operation by working with individuals once close to Big U. According to the filings, several associates allegedly began cooperating with authorities, helping them gather more insight into Big U's activities and social circle. These cooperating individuals were said to assist law enforcement in arranging introductions between undercover agents and people in Big U's network. The goal, as outlined in the reports, was for these undercover agents, posing as trusted community members, to build familiarity and rapport with Big U. By doing so, investigators hoped to gain lawful access to conversations and meetings relevant to the ongoing federal inquiry. One cooperating source, identified in the documents as CHS-1, was reportedly in contact with federal authorities as early as mid-2021. By December 2022, the Los Angeles Metropolitan Task Force had allegedly attempted to use this individual to introduce two undercover officers to Big U and an associate named Robinson. The stated objective was to evaluate whether Big U would be open to future interactions with those agents. While these accounts remain part of a broader legal process, they show how far investigators went in trying to establish direct communication channels with Big U, all while keeping their operation discreet and closely monitored. Reports indicate that an attempted meeting arranged by investigators did not go as planned. According to official documents, the introduction between undercover officers and Big U was canceled after an unrelated safety incident occurred near the chosen venue. Due to security concerns, authorities decided to postpone the operation to protect everyone involved. The documents allege that the cooperating source had planned to introduce the undercover agents as legitimate business professionals interested in forming partnerships. Investigators reportedly hoped that these introductions would help them observe future interactions and gather lawful evidence relevant to the ongoing inquiry. However, the situation was ultimately called off before any direct contact took place. A few months later, on March 31, 2023, records show that an FBI undercover employee successfully made contact with two individuals identified as Bear Claw and Chuck at the targeted business location, believed to be the same auto repair shop mentioned in earlier reports. The meeting was said to be audio and video recorded as part of standard procedure. During that encounter, Chuck reportedly provided the undercover employee with a brief tour of the shop, offering basic details such as the suite number, the business name, and general information about its operations. While the full scope of this meeting's impact remains unclear, it marked a new phase in how federal investigators approached the case surrounding Big U. According to federal filings, the meeting between the undercover agent, Chuck, and Bear Claw reportedly occurred only once. After reviewing that encounter, officials decided that arranging additional meetings could potentially create safety concerns for the undercover employee. As a result, the operation was scaled back to avoid unnecessary risks.
Investigators had initially hoped to gain closer access to private discussions at the auto shop, frequently mentioned in the case reports. Their stated goal was to observe interactions among several individuals described in the documents as targeted communicators, or people believed to be relevant to the broader investigation surrounding Big U. Those listed in the paperwork included Eugene Henley, known as Big U, Sylvester Robinson, also referred to as V, Mark Martin, Bear Claw, Zaire Mitchell, Brick Baby, Darrell Scott, Debo, Lamar Saunders, Tiny Draws, and others who were reportedly under review. Authorities viewed these individuals as key to understanding the structure and communication flow connected to the alleged racketeering case. The documents were written while the investigation was still active, before any formal indictments were made. At that stage, agents were still gathering information, working to verify evidence, and building the foundation for what could later become formal charges. This period marked a critical phase where every conversation and connection was being examined closely. The federal document that reportedly listed several names connected to Big U's investigation raised major questions once the official indictment was released. Many of the individuals originally identified as targeted communicators were no longer included in the final filing, sparking speculation about why their names had been removed. According to analysts reviewing the paperwork, the earlier federal filings described each of those as individuals allegedly connected to possible violations under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or RICO. The language used by investigators suggested they believed there was evidence of involvement in those activities, though not all of the individuals mentioned were formally charged. This discrepancy has led to public discussion about whether some of those listed are still under investigation or whether the evidence against them was later deemed insufficient for indictment.
While online speculation continues, legal observers caution that many of these cases evolve quietly and behind closed doors. Until additional court records are released, it remains unclear why certain names were removed from the final indictment. But the situation has certainly added another layer of intrigue to Big U's ongoing legal story. Federal reports suggest that investigators decided it was too risky for undercover agents to continue attempting close contact with Big U due to safety concerns. Instead, officials allegedly turned to confidential informants who were already familiar with his circle, hoping they could gather additional insights without direct confrontation. One of these sources, identified in documents as CHS2, had reportedly been cooperating with federal authorities since 2020. Investigators considered involving this individual in efforts to observe meetings at the auto shop connected to Big U's network. However, the informant allegedly declined, expressing concern that closer involvement could compromise personal safety. According to the reports, CHS2 was still able to provide limited information about Big U and certain associates, primarily through contacts rather than first-hand recordings. The documents noted that the informant did not have authorization or capability to record private conversations with Big U himself, focusing instead on relaying second-hand details received from acquaintances. Federal filings emphasized that CHS2's cooperation was voluntary and primarily intended to help clarify parts of the ongoing investigation. The information gathered was reportedly treated cautiously as agents sought to verify the accuracy of each claim through independent evidence. While the scope of CHS2's contributions remains unclear, it highlights the level of caution investigators exercised while pursuing sensitive leads in Big U's case. According to reports, investigators with the Los Angeles Task Force have not yet been able to fully verify the information provided by the informant, known as CHS2. Documents state that this individual does not live in Los Angeles and therefore lacks direct access to Big U or his immediate circle. What stands out most in the paperwork is that CHS2's cooperation with federal authorities has reportedly been financially compensated. Records suggest the informant received payments in exchange for assistance and information provided to the FBI in various investigations since 2020.
Officials describe this as part of a standard system used to compensate cooperating individuals for their time and risk. The documents also note that CHS2 expressed hesitation about attempting to attend meetings at the auto shop tied to Big U's associates, citing personal safety concerns. This reluctance was reportedly common among others approached for similar roles. Many felt uneasy about entering environments where private discussions were taking place, especially without a high level of trust from those involved. Ultimately, the task force acknowledged the difficulty of placing any cooperating source directly inside those meetings. The lack of first-hand access limited how much new information could be confirmed, leaving investigators to rely mainly on indirect reports and cautious observation as the broader inquiry continued. Reports indicate that investigators attempted to use another confidential informant, identified as CHS3, after previous efforts to gather information through CHS2 did not move forward. CHS3 had reportedly cooperated with authorities since 2019 and was said to have limited access to individuals connected with the Rolling 60s network. Documents suggest that CHS3 had previously assisted in controlled operations, but over time, their cooperation became widely suspected within certain circles. Federal officials reportedly decided that continuing to involve CHS3 in the Big U investigation could compromise both safety and the integrity of ongoing efforts. Because of this, CHS3 was not used in attempts to gain access to private meetings allegedly linked to Big U's associates. According to the filings, CHS3 had already provided testimony and background information in other cases involving organized activity in Los Angeles. However, their name was reportedly recognized by multiple groups, which made further involvement in undercover work too risky. What stands out most in the documents is how extensive the network of cooperating sources appears to be. Officials describe a long list of confidential informants who continue assisting with investigations across the city. This highlights the complexity of law enforcement operations in Los Angeles, where multiple overlapping cases often involve numerous sources working under careful supervision to ensure both accuracy and safety. Documents related to Big U's case reportedly mentioned that as many as 22 confidential sources were active during the investigation, a surprising number that highlights how wide-ranging the federal inquiry may have been. Among them was CHS3, who according to reports also received financial compensation for cooperation. Officials note that such payments are a standard practice meant to cover expenses and encourage continued participation in federal investigations. The files suggest that several cooperating sources began working with law enforcement for different reasons, some in exchange for leniency in their own cases, while others reportedly did so for financial stability. This system of compensated informants has sparked debate among observers, who argue that it raises complex questions about motivation and credibility in long-running cases. Another individual, identified as CHS4, was reportedly cooperating with authorities since early 2021, around the same time investigators began focusing on the death of Rayshawn Williams. According to filings, CHS4 provided information about alleged activities involving members of the Rolling 60s network and participated in controlled transactions under federal supervision.
Despite their cooperation, many of these informants reportedly refused to attend private meetings connected to Big U's circle, citing safety concerns. Instead, they chose to share information indirectly, often avoiding situations that could expose their identities. The reports ultimately portray a cautious and highly monitored federal effort, one relying heavily on informants operating from a distance, each playing a small but significant role in shaping the broader investigation surrounding Big U. New filings revealed that by mid-2023, the investigation into Big U had entered a quieter but far more calculated stage. Instead of pushing for more undercover operations, federal agents reportedly shifted focus toward analyzing digital evidence, things like text records, surveillance logs, and financial transactions that could link different players in the case. According to sources, this was part of a strategy to strengthen the RICO allegations without putting informants or agents directly in harm's way. Court records suggest investigators also began revisiting earlier testimony from multiple cooperating witnesses to check for consistency. Analysts claim that federal prosecutors were working behind the scenes to confirm which statements could hold up in court and which might need more verification. Every call, every message, and every bank movement tied to Big U's known associates was allegedly being re-examined. At the same time, insiders say federal attention quietly expanded beyond Big U himself. Several people who were once considered secondary figures reportedly came under deeper scrutiny as agents followed the money trail surrounding business ventures linked to the group. This new phase wasn't loud or public, but it was reportedly intense, with prosecutors determined to close any gaps in their case before bringing it back to court. By late summer, the tone around the investigation had completely changed, no longer chaotic, but cold and methodical, as federal teams pieced together the puzzle one document at a time. According to recent filings, CHS-4 reportedly told investigators that fully integrating into Big U's inner circle, which included individuals like Bear Claw, Brick Baby, Sylvester Robinson, and others, would not be realistic. The documents describe this group as a close-knit circle within the larger Rolling 60s network, making it difficult for any outside source to gain meaningful access. Records indicate that CHS-4 had a prior criminal record involving non-violent offenses and received both financial and probation-related benefits for cooperating with federal and local authorities. The same reports mention CHS-5, another source who also had limited reach within Big U's network, but occasionally interacted with an individual known as Ty T. Jones, who was reportedly under separate investigation. According to the filings, CHS-5 provided information about suspected illegal activities involving Jones and other associates, but was unable to infiltrate Big U's specific meetings. Because none of the cooperating sources could gain direct access, investigators reportedly continued relying on surveillance tools like court-approved wiretaps and camera monitoring around key locations. These developments shed light on the challenges investigators faced when trying to penetrate tight-knit networks in Los Angeles. The growing use of paid informants, individuals who assist authorities in exchange for compensation, has sparked ongoing debate about the ethics and reliability of such arrangements. What do you think about federal investigations using compensated sources for high-profile cases like this one? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates and breakdowns on stories just like this one.